Okay.
Collaboration.
You ready? I'd like to call the meeting of the Plaquemines Parish Council Audit Committee to order for the May 11, 2017 regular meeting. And at this time, I ask the Secretary to call the roll.
Councilmember Juneau?
Here.
Councilmember Russo?
Here.
Councilmember Trufant-Salva? Here.
Let the record reflect that all council members are, all committee members are present. And at this time, I'll ask Mr. Burke to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, good morning and thank you all for coming. I guess we'll move to item number 2.
Discussion and appropriate action regarding the internal auditor, Ms. Lakeisha Daisy.
Okay, as you may know, Ms. Daisy has officially resigned. We distributed out the last status change record for your records as being changed. She submitted a 2-week notice on the resolution, on the resignation, and in the resolution what it states is that she was supposed to provide us with some reports on the way out, but she decided not to come the last 2 weeks, so she did not show up. However, through the help of Mr. Garrett, we've been able to recover all of the known items that she had that belonged to the government, which was the notepad and the other items. So, and the passwords, we had to go through passwords, and so we have all of the equipment that was purchased for her that we know of. There are threshold limits that may not be on our inventory, but the big items we have. So at this time, I'd like to ask that we accept the resignation of Ms. Lakeisha Daisy, the internal audit, and otherwise to provide respect thereto, as the resolution states.
One item, just as a subnote, at present, there is still a pending appeal of a prior disciplinary action pending at the Civil Service Commission. The Civil Service Commission has asked me multiple times. I have asked her attorney multiple times. Do they plan on moving forward with that? Because it seems moot at this point, but it is still pending. That hearing is actually set for June. And I will continue to contact her attorney to see about dismissal. Like I said, Mr. Pappy, the attorney for the Civil Service Commission, I think he believes that there's no point moving forward with it either, but we will continue toward a final resolution of that. I would hope that we don't have to have a Civil Service Commission hearing for someone who resigned 2 months before the hearing, but I will keep y'all up to date.
Thank you. Secretary, will you read the resolution?
A resolution accepting the resignation of Ms. Lakeisha Daisy, internal auditor, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Whereas Ms. Daisy verbally submitted her resignation as the Plaquemines Parish Internal Auditor on April 13, 2017. And whereas during her 2-week notice period, Ms. Daisy was to provide the Audit Committee with finalized reports on pending audits. And whereas Friday, April 28, 2017 was the last day, however, no reports were submitted to the Audit Committee. Now therefore be it resolved by the Plaquemines Parish Council Audit Committee that it hereby accepts the verbal resignation of Ms. Lakeisha Daisy submitted on April 13, 2017.
One thing was also, she actually she gave us a letter as well, resigning. So Ellen, you might want to note that just strike the word verbal and just make the resignation. Because she did it verbally through her attorney, and her attorney also submitted a letter that she had signed.
I'll offer with that change.
Councilmember Juneau?
Yes.
Councilmember Russo?
Yes.
Councilmember Trufant-Salva?
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Move to item number 3.
Discussion and adoption of a job description and qualifications for the internal auditor position and the authority to advertise.
Okay, I'll offer that resolution. Ask for a second.
Second.
As you know, we've had, I think it's about 3 different iterations of job descriptions for the internal audit that had started back in, I don't know, the first year, maybe 2007, then 2015, and then this one. This is identical to the job description, except for we added one potential qualification. If you look on page 4, at the top of the line where it says Chief Internal Auditor, it says certified public accountant or certified internal auditor or Juris Doctorate of Law required. That's the only change we put in. I recommended putting in that. The other items are exactly the same as submitted to all of you through email. So is there any change or any discussion on the job description? It's pretty intense. Now that the previous audit committee has really, dug a pretty good line in the sand about what the description is as far as the job description and the qualifications. So
with that addition, the new addition to the qualification, would that give a boost in pay? Would that
no, we're not changing the pay at all. We're just giving a different option to be able to say that, you have this category, this category, this category as being the educational requirement. If we decide that...
You don't have to have all 3, you have to be one of those 3. I think you just added one more.
Correct, category.
Yeah.
And so, if we find an outstanding candidate that meets the qualifications, we can ask for exceptional pay, but I wasn't looking to look for any extra funding at this time because of the financial situation that we're in. So I thought we would go ahead and advertise this position in the same situation that we find ourselves in at the end of the advertisement. We'll have to evaluate. You have to excuse me, I got a head cold today, so I'm kind of in and out here.
Juris Doctor of Law is just one that just jumps out at me.
Right. You don't have to have that. And 1 or 3.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but just to include it, it's like, say, that's a broad,
The law degree,
law degree for in a parish of this size, and based on, and I understand where we're going and where you would like to see the internal auditor act and elevate to. I'm just saying, is that really necessary? But I'm not going to raise a big objection.
Well, I know that in the past, when the audit committee was looking for a certified public accountant, they had very hard time trying to find one. And Mr. Burke, you might want to elaborate.
No, you're correct, Mr. Russell. It was the qualifications that just went out there. I think maybe adding I wouldn't disagree with adding someone with some kind of law background, just dealing with the nature of this position, that you may find a good qualified attorney, lawyer that could,
Yeah, and I agree, but I'm still saying if you're not going to match the salary to a person of that caliber, well, it makes me think like,
Right.
who you gonna attract?
Right.
You can have a doctorate degree, a doctor of law, but if your income, the salary that's attached to that is low, I mean, who are you gonna attract?
and I think it's kind of been.
Yeah, but I like I said, that's just what point
I think a lot of governmental positions kind of fall in that category sometimes, where you were asking for someone with a professional certification degree, but the pay scale, somewhat it is what it is. But like Mr. Russell said, it's just another option. Should we not find a CPA, we could look outside and find an attorney that may be willing to accept that. I don't know.
And then to follow that along, if we find no one, we may have to come back here and raise the pay.
Well, that's exactly
what I mean?
right.
Yeah, it's just a point of discussion. I'm not objecting to it, but it just didn't sit well with me.
And just one other thing I'd like to point out is when all this started back 2 years ago, it also creates another level of professional standards. You know, there's, you know, when you're a CPA, you have a level of standards you have to meet, and as a lawyer or an attorney, you have a level of standards you have to meet. So I think having maybe a combination of that, you know, will definitely set the bar on how that department's kind of functioning.
It goes back to enforcement of anything, you know. That's the bottom line with it, you know. And I always take it back to that little buzzer that we have in our hand. You know,
Well, when we get to item 5, we're going to talk about that.
you know. Okay.
All right. Any further discussion on the item? Any public discussion? Hearing none. Secretary call the roll.
Councilmember Juneau?
Yes.
Councilmember Rousseau?
Yes.
And Councilmember Trufant Saleh?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 4.
Update by Travis Fontenot, Assistant Internal Auditor, on the scheduled audit for the April 2017 and prioritization of the 2017 audit plan.
As far as the audit concern, we know where we stand at. I just have to figure out where I need to get the help from in order to move and perform these audits, you know, until someone else comes in. So right now, I'm just stuck between a rock and a hard place, which way I have to go. But as far as any audits, none have been completed, and the one that was supposed to be completed by Ms. Daisy, well, you know, she didn't perform or fulfill that duty. So I just have to figure out where I have to go from that point on.
Okay. As you know, we have adopted an audit plan for 2017, and the March audit was the civil service, the April was the public works capital projects, or the PW capital projects. So we know that this schedule is slipping because of the lack of the auditor. So I would think that we might want to revisit this at our next meeting to re-adopt the schedule or amend the schedule, be able to see where we're really at, depending on where we stand with hiring an internal auditor to pick up this ball and move forward. So,
Okay, now that we have the resolution adopted, to go ahead and move with are we moving in the direction of advertising for that position?
yes, our resolution that we just adopted authorized us to do that.
Okay.
And so what will happen today is after the audit committee meeting, Secretary will forward this document to the civil service with a cover letter authorizing them to go forward and advertise for the position.
Well, I think everything is going to be predicated on, the agenda is going to be predicated on how quickly we get someone hired, right?
Yes, that's why I was just bringing this to your attention, because we are slipping in the schedule, and we know why we're slipping in the schedule, because we don't have an internal auditor. But the point is that we might want to revisit the schedule, you see, and once we get somebody on board, then we can amend the schedule, change it, revise it, do whatever. I just wanted to bring that up as a point of discussion. And since Travis is kind of in limbo right now, we're waiting on that. Any further discussion on item 4? Hearing none, we'll move to item 5.
Discussion regarding the internal audit department and its duties under section 7 of the Plaquemines Parish Home Rule Charter.
Okay, we had a meeting earlier. What we had done earlier was we had Travis reach out to the Port Authority to ask them to forward their travel reimbursement expenses to the auditor's office to be able to do the same thing that we do with all parish employees. Travis monitors that, he checks it out, and he sends it in for approval once he sees that it meets all the criteria. And we asked the Port to participate in that. The Port has initially decided that they weren't part of the government, that they were a separate standalone entity, and that they weren't subject to the charter requirements. But we had a meeting with them this morning. We have come to a resolution that they suggest, and I'll let Dan explain it in a little more detail, but the bottom line is that we have to amend the policy that took the Port out of the government to allow the audit committee to have that authority in the policy that we've adopted, because they are, and I mean, they brought their lawyer in this morning, and I'll let Tim go on before I get out of here.
Yeah, let's let.
The lawyer mean Redburn?
Well, actually, it was another lady. I'll let Minnie take a few deep breaths while I talk, so just nod when you're calm. No, I'm just kidding.
Got one of those pumps if you
He
need.
didn't curse at all in the meeting. We did not, Marlene Quarles, another attorney, was brought in because Mr. Rathburn was unavailable. Her position was consistent with Mr. Rathburn's, that they take the position that section 7.08 of the charter with regard to the audit committee's authority and the authority of the internal audit office, although it says that it extends to all political subdivisions and districts situated therein for which the parish government is the governing authority. And remember, the port and the Plaquemines Parish Port Harbor and Terminal District is a separate political subdivision, but its entire governing authority is the council. They serve as that. It was the audit committee's position that this provision of the charter meant that that entity fell. They are a political subdivision. Their governing authority is the parish council, so therefore should have fallen under that authority. They dispute that. Rather than resolve the fight over whether or not that charter provision applies, we've sort of agreed to disagree on that for now. But the next question came up is, because they brought up a resolution that was adopted in 2014. I don't have a copy of it. I guess I should have gotten a copy of it. But it was interesting because it actually, and I'll talk to Kim, I want to actually go back and take a look at the minutes of that meeting, because it appears to be a resolution adopted by the council with regard to the administrative and travel policies and so forth for the port employees. But then there was a question about, well, maybe it was adopted by the commission, and we went round and round. But as it came up to, well, the question I posed is, if the council, acting in its capacity as the commission, the port commission, were to adopt a resolution that directed that its travel receipts and invoices and so forth proceed through the internal audit committee, I mean, that's just a delegation of that administrative authority. Their attorney actually initially said she didn't even think that was legal, but I think despite that, I think we kind of got some feedback from the Port Commission chairman as well as the executive director that they believe that if that is done, if a resolution is adopted by the Port Commission that says Port Commission travel stuff is going to go through the internal auditor, then they would comply with that without any objection. So that it accomplishes the goal without necessarily solving the narrow legal issue on the charter. So that is what I anticipate will be introduced. I think Mr. Roussel, as a member of the Port Commission, intends on introducing a resolution to that effect. And that should at least resolve the issue of them providing the information to the internal audit office and the internal audit office being able to review it. And so I think we've skinned the cat another way, so to speak.
And we can have an offline discussion about how that came about after this. So I would hope that we would support that. The resolution, I guess it's an ordinance to amend the ordinance that's on the books now of ordinance.
Well, I think we can do it by resolution, because what they pointed to appeared to be a resolution. But I can get with Kim and specifically get, because again, she's the secretary for the district.
So we can get that resolution prepared this afternoon. Today. No, but I'll introduce it as a council if it's done by the council.
Well, I think, and that's the thing is, I think.
Find out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll get with you.
Any further discussion on that item?
Yeah, I got a lot of discussion, but I don't know if we got enough time to do that.
How much videotape?
Discussion after.
Yeah, this is.
Got 3 hours left.
Okay.
Okay.
3 hours left on that.
All right, if there's no more discussion on that item, let's move to item number 6.
Approval of the minutes from the April 13th, 2017 meeting.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Trufant,
Yes.
have a second? Juno, any comments or discussion on the minutes adoption? Hearing none. Secretary call the roll.
Councilmember Gina,
Yes.
Councilmember Russo,
Yes.
Councilmember Trufant-Salva.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any further business to come before the audit committee today? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Adjourn. Ms. Talbot, will the secretary call the roll?
Councilmember Gina,
Yes.
Councilmember Russo,
Yes.
Councilmember Trufant-Salva.
Yes.
And the meeting is adjourned at 9:56. Thank you all for participating. Thank you, Mr. Burke, for coming and visiting with us. Mr. Earl, stomping ground.